or to this a suggestion via Discord. Let's check it out. Let's see where this takes us, guys.
Give me your perspective on DEI, and because based on what I heard earlier, I feel like you don't think I belong here.
Oh,
because
really?
of
Why?
How I am a black man, and because of DEI, I'm not qualified enough
Are you?
to be here. Yes, I am.
Okay, great, then you belong.
But why do I have to prove that to you?
You don't. You brought it up, I didn't.
Okay, but can you explain to me your position on DEI?
Yes, people should not be in positions just because of the color of their skin. Hard stop.
Okay, but do you feel like I'm here because
I'm not feeling anything towards you.
He's not the arbiter of
I'm
that.
not prejudicing you. I'm not stereotyping you. I'm saying that it's a material.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are.
No, you are. You said I don't
Yeah, you are.
feel comfortable being here. You started with.
I didn't say I wasn't comfortable being here.
hold
I
on.
said I feel like you made it to where
Right.
I got here through DEI.
So let's examine that. What have I said that makes you feel that way?
When you mentioned how DEI is only just putting people of color and marginalized groups in spaces, even if they're not so and so
Correct.
qualified.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what DEI does.
What-
Yeah, bro. I mean, is that the argument you're making here? And it's not even just about the color of people's skin here, guys. It's also like who they decide to sleep in the bed with at nighttime, guys. Understand this here. It is a couple of things. Also, gender, guys. It is what it is here. If you are being put into positions of power or any type of position, if you are in a space exclusively because of any of the things that I just mentioned, then in fact you definitely, you shouldn't be there.
That's not all that it does.
You don't deserve to
categorizing
be
it
there.
as something it isn't.
No, that's exactly that is
But
like
that's
that is the
not-
charter missions.
That's not all.
Okay,
that it
so
does.
diversity, equity. So equity is outcome based. Is about making people who are of different skin colors have the same outcome, regardless whether or not they are qualified. The best example we have of this is the Students for Fair Admission Harvard Supreme Court case, where black students, they did not, literally they could have a SAT score 300 points lesser than the Asian equivalent and still get into Harvard. That is DEI in practice. I believe when you're hiring for an organization or for a company or for whatever you are doing, you should prioritize merit and character, and race should mean nothing. We should build around things that matter and not things that don't matter.
That's fair.
You have to also take into the fact that black people have only been able to completely legally be able to make profit for themselves for around 60 years.
What? Make profit for themselves? What are you talking about? Do you not recall Tulsa, Oklahoma? Do you not know what Black Wall Street is? What are you talking about exactly? And these are the kids we're getting back from college, guys.
And this is no.
You ever heard of Mansa Musa, guys?
Segregation ended in 1965 in the Equal Rights Act in 1965. So what you're talking, there's not.
How did that, so let's talk about you. How did that impact you? How did something that happened 60 years ago impact your life?
It impacts me all the time.
How?
What do you?
How?
Okay.
You're at Texas A&M, you're doing great.
Okay, yes, sure, yeah.
So aren't you a living example that all that's a bunch of nonsense and you could just act good and, behave well and succeed?
But there's also living examples of the exact opposite. If you look in the impoverished neighborhoods in certain parts of Chicago or St. Louis, there's black communities being thrown aside because they're not getting education.
Thrown aside? Okay,
yes,
so
thrown aside.
I think we can get somewhere.
Oh, here we go.
Why have the black community gotten poorer since the passage of the Civil Rights Act? Tell me that.
Because of the way the culture has been perpetuated through the
Hold
years.
on. Think about it. So they were richer when we were segregated and more racist. America's become less racist.
What about Tulsa?
Yeah, no one's going to defend what happened in Tulsa again, but let's.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to. Like, just understand this here. Even, like, regardless of what people may have perceived, specifically Charlie Kirk, I don't really perceive him as someone like that. So I fully, completely understand why he came out here and kind of pointed out that I'm not going to defend what happened in Tulsa. There's no defense of what happened in Tulsa. So I respect the fact that he pointed that out.
We're talking about a lot of different cities. We're talking about Chicago, Tulsa, but let's again, this is a very important point. Do you think the fact that 70% of black youth don't have a dad around is probably pretty important?
That's because of the culture.
So respectfully
It's the culture.
Allow me to interject.
It is the culture.
How does the white culture impact the fact whether or not a black dad stays around when he impregnates a woman?
I'm not saying it's the white culture.
What is it?
the
It's the
culture
black
that has
culture.
been perpetuated through the 200 years of slavery, the 100 years of segregation and Jim Crow laws.
The marriage, so I got to interject again. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt too much. But in 1960, before the Civil Rights Act, 20% of black youth had a dad around. Now it's, 20% were single fathers, 80% had a dad around. It's been inverted. So we actually have seen black dads run away from their kids the last 60 years. Why is that?
Because of the raised incarceration rates, because of the perpetuated culture.
So how does one go to...
Hold on, let me kind of step in here for a second here, guys. I mean, it's a little bit more than what I think both of them are currently saying here. Like, you do understand what happened when a president, right, specifically at a very interesting time in our history, decided that it was going to be a great idea to enact, social welfare programs, right? Get the man out of the house, we'll take care of you, right? That type of thing here. Then the daughters raise their daughters to basically be identical to the woman who kicked the guy out of the house, basically be as unattractive mentally to a man as humanly possible, right? And I think that's kind of what happened specifically at that time. They chose the government over the men, and you can basically, ask your aunt, have a conversation with your aunt. You'll realize that most likely that's a true statement there, guys.
The jail.
Trying to be nice.
That's obvious. I'm not answering that question.
Yeah, so maybe it's because they committed crimes.
Okay, but when you're forced it's not just this is old, this is in the past, this doesn't affect you anymore.
Okay, so let's take a different group. How did the Holocaust impact Jews? They're doing pretty well.
Well, because they got reparations, we didn't.
How? What reparations did the Jews
Through
get?
Israel.
Acknowledgement, through money, through
We acknowledge slavery happened. So,
okay, but you're sitting here and acting like it plays no role.
No,
now.
but to your argument, the Holocaust was 80 years ago. Half of all the Jews on the planet were killed. Everything they earned was taken. Jews are doing great. If all of a sudden something that happened 80 years ago impacts your material prosperity, how did Jews defy the curve? How did poor Asians do so well? Why is it that Asians are now the wealthiest minority in America, many of whom came with no money in the 1950s or 60s?
Because of the culture and opportunities that were provided to them.
But you're not hearing me out. Black Americans have had the same opportunities. However,
people still look at us like criminals every day.
Hold on, but I don't look at you like a criminal.
I'm not saying you do, I'm saying some people do.
But I mean, do you want me to be brutally honest with you, or do you want me to be politically correct?
Brutally honest with you.
Okay, do black people commit more crimes than white people? It's not even close.
Okay. But you have to take into account the culture that has been perpetuated.
Okay, got it. So we can agree on this. Do you mean internal black culture?
Yes.
It's not.
That's what he's been talking about kind of the whole time. The internal black American culture is absolutely toxic. All right. It is just bro, listen to the music that is promoted exclusively, kind of, heavily within the community. What are the women listening to? All right. They're basically embodying like some of the worst examples of femininity that you possibly, can embody. Let's just say that there. So when that happens, what exactly are you talking about here? Right now, listen, obviously it's not all of any singular group, but it just so happens that the popularized culture within Black American is ghetto. Or like when you start seeing, doctors graduating and then they specifically have to represent for the culture by acting legitimately terrible at some of these graduations and putting gold teeth in their mouth and all these other ridiculous things, right? Just to show that they are still real, right? In the context of the culture. If that is the pinnacle, then what are you expecting from a group of people, unfortunately, guys? So this is the issue that we have. I do think that he is definitely, in fact, talking about the culture.
It's deeper than that.
Do you think, let's take time out. Do you think the average rap artist that a black kid in the hood is listening to is glorifying marriage and family and saving your money?
That's what sells because it's a culture thing. It's not just within the black community.
I agree. No, but hold on.
Everyone listens to it. It's not just isolated.
It's bad for everyone who listens to it. The point being is that black youth, as they are being raised, their role models are largely not glorifying staying with one woman, getting married, going to church. And if you're wrong, show me the black role models that are doing that. There might be a couple I could think of, maybe.
There are. There's actually a good amount of them, but the problem is that they're all considered lame. right? They're not cool within the culture. What's cool within a culture are the ones who are absolutely garbage, like King Von and drill rap artists and these type of things. The toxicity is what people are unfortunately more attracted to. Is
But if it's about culture, you're right. The internal black culture has collapsed the last 60 years. We're no longer elevating the family. We're no longer elevating staying with the person that you're with. So our contention here as conservatives is that the systemic racism stuff is a bunch of rubbish. Instead, it's systemic bad choices.
Do you feel that systemic racism isn't real?
Of course not. What can I do that you can't do? Name it.
Okay.
No, seriously. What can I do that you can't do?
That's a slippery slope fallacy.
No, it's not.
I don't know why.
Very simple.
slippery slope fallacy will definitely fall through in its context here. That is not a good argument, sir.
No, because back in 1940, you would have been able to answer that question. Well, Charlie, there's a bathroom over there that I can't go to. There's a major league team.
I can't walk into the grocery store and get the same looks that you do. I walked into Brookshire Brothers a couple weeks ago and I was looked at
like I was a criminal. That's an insanely hyper-paranoid way of living life. That's not evidence, right?
It's a real example.
By the way, if I walk into a black neighborhood, I get bad looks too, okay? So I don't know what the contention is.
Because of the way you treat our culture and the way you perpetuate.
Oh, wait, hold on. The way we treat your culture, we have gone to such great calisthenics and ridiculous gymnastics to prove that we're not racist. In fact, it's the worst thing that you could be called in America. We had, during George Floyd 2020, we had hundreds of millions of dollars given to Black Lives Matter. I don't know where that money went. Did it improve material worth of Black America? So,
no.
I mean, and we actually do know where it went, actually.
Yeah, we know exactly where it went.
And so, but going back to your main contention, when you practice DEI, because that was your main point, right? You are rewarding bad culture. You even acknowledge it. You are saying that someone should be there based on the color of their skin. We say skin color doesn't matter. If you want that position, work harder, study harder, and then you might be able to get that position.
When we're forced into underfunded communities where schools are based off of property value, we can't.
Well, actually, school choice is now the law of the land here in Texas,
okay,
so that's not correct. Secondly,
do you just expect a single-parent home to pick up and move into some rich neighborhood?
Well, again,
it should be a single-parent home in the first place. I mean, like, listen, you have to understand kind of what the other partner, your partner, kind of wants and desires out of life here, and try to make sure that you are attempting to kind of maintain that thing here. Right? Understand this here, and there will be a lot less single mothers on this planet here, right? Just understand this here. There is absolutely a group of people in the Black American community and other communities. Obviously, they're called the hobosexuals, basically the ones who have no actual future at all, right? And what they do is they tend to kind of go from bed to bed to bed, looking specifically for single mothers to impregnate, so they have somewhere to live, right? And then utilize the government assistance that they're getting here. There's a whole group of people that are just like that, They live to do that, have as many kids as humanly possible, never taking care of any of them here, guys. So the reality is that exists pretty heavily in the Black American community, guys. I mean, we need to go back to the point of shaming the individuals, let's say, that are deciding to leave, destroy and break up their families here, and regardless, male, female, don't care, guys. Right? I mean, we need to go back to shame, bring shame back here, guys. Okay, do not popularize the concept of single parentage, guys. Why are we doing that here? If there is no physical anything happening in the household, because I have to point that out, because of course the person in the comment is already typing, what about this exception? That's not the rule, right? But listen, guys, we need to go back to the concept of shaming, the concept of leaving or destroying your once nuclear family. Don't care, guys. We need to go back to that. But obviously, there's no need to stay in an environment where things are kind of getting hectic, where people are putting hands on each other and things like that. That is not acceptable by any means, right? But if your issue is he snores too much, guys, come on, guys, because that's what it sounds like when I hear people talk about why they left their partner, why they left the father of their kid. Right? That's what it sounds like to me, at least. Let me see. One of his nostril hairs are too long. That's the level of petty I hear.
And so let's go back to why are they the single parent home?
Because the hundreds of years.
Do you believe in the maxim or the belief that you should take responsibility for your decisions?
it's not just one person's decisions. It's so much deeper than that.
See,
Why
that-
are you trying to?
That's where you
Bro,
and I have
it
a different
is.
belief. You believe in
It's
this.
not. It's a fact.
No, it's
though.
a belief.
That's
Again,
not a
You
fact.
have to tell me then, why do Jews do so well? Holocaust didn't impact their material worth. How did Asians do so well?
There was
And
a
by the way,
much-
even more so, why are Hispanics getting so much wealthier? If we were so racist, why are Hispanics all of a sudden gaining income the last 20 years? There's
It's
something.
a difference in culture. I don't know why y'all are clapping.
But
It's a difference in culture. The way that each culture is treated is so vastly different in America.
But again, you have to tell me, other than bad looks at the grocery store, how else is your future, you as a man in America, not a black man, how is your future somehow restricted by racism?
My natural hair is seemed as unprofessional when I go into an office or workplace. When I walk around in certain places, people just assume, like I've said earlier, the dirty looks. When people think you are automatically the worst of the worst solely because of,
We don't think that.
You've interrupted me like 10 times
because
now.
you think you know what white people think, and you don't.
I don't know what white people
Then
think.
why do you
but-
keep on saying you know what white people
Because
think?
I've seen it. I'm
Oh,
not
you've
saying
seen
I
our
think-
thoughts?
I've seen what people have done to me and people who look like me around the world and around in America.
How? Again, you are, let's just make an example. You are here in the wealthiest country ever,
Yes.
at an amazing university, with all the opportunity imaginable in front of you. And all you want to do is look backwards at everything that prevented you, when you are a glaring example that there is no systemic racism and you can actually achieve your wildest dreams.
Whoa, I never said that. And I'm not the only black person who exists out there. There's so many people who this culture is affecting to this day.
Do you know black Americans are the richest black people on earth? You cannot find a black majority country or any country where black people have significant representation where they are as wealthy, because even the poorest people in America are in the top 5%, top 2% of wealth around the world. And so my whole belief is stop acting like you're a victim and start making better choices.
Guys, if you guys want to finish it, I'll leave it in the description. Jeez. I say this all the time. I say this all the time. Like, listen, guys, I am black. Okay. And I understand what he's saying because I understand the culture, right? I understand how magnetic the culture feels, if that makes any sense, kind of from within it. But I did not grow up in the culture, right? I mean, by the time I got to a certain age, let's say, I started to kind of experience kind of what he's talking about, but not specifically to the level of what he's talking about. Let's just say this here. So I understand kind of what he's talking about. But also at the same time, guys, my lived experiences are so drastically different that I can tell you this right now than the average Black American. I know I don't really identify mentally, at least, with the culture or the same things that keep people in like maximum victimhood. I can definitely tell you this, guys. I grew up on Long Island, all the way towards the end of Long Island. If you know the area, you'll get exactly what I'm talking about. Right now, immediately, you'll just be like, "Oh, okay, that figures." Right? I've spent more time outside of the United States of America than inside of the United States of America. I know exactly what it feels like to be black in certain countries, guys. Okay, things are tricky sometimes, and this comes down to, like specifically in Europe, this comes down to a lot of illegal immigration, right? So people will immediately perceive that I am similar to the individual that has basically jumped over the border, generally until I start speaking, and then they realize I'm American, and then things are different here. Charlie basically mentioned earlier, I want you to think about what it feels like to be a man in America. The problem is that I never understood what it felt like to be a man until I left the United States of America. Understand that. That's where my whole mental state changed, because in America, I was just a Black American man. Right, like playing the victim, just like kind of everyone else was, until you kind of realize that doesn't make any. I am not a victim. I've had so many opportunities in life, and I've experienced so many things like in life, that it's that means like the overall, I guess, consensus on what it is to be Black in America never really meant anything to me, right? If that makes any sense, because it. Like after years of sitting down and thinking about it, it just was like, bro, that's not my experience. Like that just hasn't been so is it like a group think thing where everyone starts, like, they hear one horrible story and then say this horrible story represents, right? Like it represents Everyone. So I have to have experience. Bro, you never experienced none of that stuff, bro. All right? You never experienced none of it. Like, I've experienced more racism, let's say, outside of the United States of America than inside of the United States of America. And a real racism. Right? So what exactly are we complaining about? And again, he did mention something about how black people felt all around the world. He did, the guy who's the black guy who's talking here. Right? And it was just like, have you been anywhere? Because I think if you can always tell, like, the telltale sign of someone who has never been a single place in life. You can tell. Right? It becomes pretty obvious when they start speaking and they just immediately play the victim. But you're in America, born in America with an American passport, and you have all of the same opportunities as many people. And I've said this in a previous video, guys. I live in an area where, sorry guys, I'm like sick. I live in an area where I'm like one of the, let's say 2-3 like black people, right? And exclusively. And that's just kind of what my area is. And I can definitely tell you, based off of, you know, I started life really young, okay? Like, in terms of like making money and running a business for the last like 2 decades, guys, right? So I started making money really young, and I understood finances and credits and interest rates and loans, etc. So I've kind of had a gigantic head start. I've had an IRA for over 20 years now, guys. Like, understand what I'm saying this year. I can definitely almost 100% guarantee you, based off of even my neighbors, right? I would probably be in the top, like, say 5% of even all of my white neighbors, or and Asian neighbors specifically. Okay. So now I hear what he's saying here, but bro, if you don't know how to kind of like handle money, make money, et cetera, live your life in a way that's conducive and you know, applicable, let's say, to the social contract that we have all signed, then just say that, right? Don't blame it on systematic racism and all this other stuff, because bro, you have the same opportunity as Charlie Kirk does, right? I have the same opportunity as all of my neighbors. You get what I'm saying here, guys? Like, the same exact opportunity. There's no joke here. It is what it is here, right? And it just so happened that they have lighter skin, and they're doing they're working at a certain level, earning at a certain level, and I'm the kind of opposite of that, right? So, and this is, I'm not trying to say this to like brag or anything like that. I'm just trying to express to this guy and other people who are stuck in this victimhood mentality, like, bro, listen, this is not a thing that you need to kind of latch on to. You're going to have to 100% leave the United States of America, stay gone for like a year, okay? And you'll understand what Charlie said when, you know, I want to know your opinion as a man, not a black man, because he does not know. He will never know, all right? Because that is the conversation I have with many black people in the United States of America who have never left the United States of America. They don't know, okay? Because they've been kept in this victim state for the entirety of their existence, and they have never been able to kind of crawl out of it. They have no idea what it is to be a man. Truthfully, right? They can have a perception, or they read a book one time, but until they've actually experienced like what it actually is to be a man, he'll never know. He'll never know. He'll never know, and he'll stay in this victimhood mentality, and he'll stay like in this like cyclical bit of nonsense that keeps happening, guys. But all right, listen, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.